It was a cold weekday evening when I pulled up to one of the office buildings my janitorial company serviced. My shift usually began at 6 p.m., but that night, I got there a little late, around 6:30. The parking lot was quiet, dimly lit by a few flickering lamps. I entered the keypad code, grabbed my cleaning gear and locked the door behind me. The building wasn't that big, 2 floors and a small basement, but it stretched long, and every hallway echoed when you walked alone. I decided to start upstairs as usual. I went room to room collecting trash, straightening desks and checking floors for clutter. Everything was calm, almost too calm. When I took the first load of trash out to the back dumpsters, I noticed 2 parked cars sitting in the rear lot. Both were off and no one was inside. That was strange because this was the only building nearby, and no one else was supposed to be here after hours. I stood there for a moment, staring at those cars, but eventually brushed it off and went back inside. Still, something didn't sit right. I double-checked that all doors were locked before continuing. Every now and then I peeked out the windows to make sure the cars hadn't moved. They hadn't. By the time I finished the top floor and started the first, it was getting close to 10 p.m. When I stepped out again to toss another bag of trash, I froze. One of the cars now had its interior light on. The second I noticed, it switched off. That's when my stomach dropped. Someone was definitely in there. I hurried back inside, locked the doors again and started cleaning faster. I just wanted to finish and leave. Around 11, all that was left was the basement, the small, storage-heavy space filled with boxes and supplies. I grabbed my mop and headed down. Halfway through, a heavy thud echoed from above. I stopped. Then faintly I heard voices, 2 men talking casually, like they owned the place. My pulse shot up. I moved behind some shelves, crouched low, and dialed 911. But before I could even whisper, footsteps began descending the stairs. Through the dim light I saw a shadow stretch across the wall, the outline of a man holding something small, maybe metal. My throat went dry. He walked around the basement for a minute, muttering to the other guy upstairs. "No, I don't see anyone. I think we're good." Then he went back up. I stayed frozen behind the boxes, barely breathing. I redialed 911 and whispered everything I could. From the sounds above, the men were moving around, first upstairs, then back to the ground floor. Suddenly, one of them shouted, "Their van is still here!" Panic rushed through me. They knew I hadn't left. Their footsteps pounded the floor, running from room to room. Then came the crash of boxes being thrown aside again. They were back in the basement. I squeezed my eyes shut, praying the police would get there soon. And then, faintly, and sirens. The moment those sirens grew louder, the man yelled for his partner, and both sprinted out of the building. I stayed hidden until I heard the officers call out for me. It was over. Later, I found out the men had been caught not far away. They never explained why they broke in, but stolen items were found in their cars. Still, what terrified me most wasn't that they were thieves. It was that even after realizing someone was inside, they didn't leave. I often think about that night. If those sirens hadn't come when they did, maybe you'd never hear this story.